Hey pals, welcome back to part 3 of my Bulgarian Adventures. We finally made it to the end of this series. It's felt like forever. I apologize for it taking so long to edit. I felt like life's just been crazy and I felt a little overwhelmed, so I just was like, well, I'll do it another day. But we finally made it and I'm really excited for you guys to hear about my last week in Bulgaria. Also, before we jump into the video, I wanted to note that after this video is uploaded, I have about 3 or 4 videos that are going to come out very quickly in the next 2 weeks. Hopefully, that is my goal, because they were from the summer and we've now started the school year, so I want to get those out fast so then I can kind of get up to date. So yeah, be expectant for those videos and help keep me accountable. Okay, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Okay, so now we're gonna move into week 4, which makes me kind of sad because it means my trip is coming to a close. Feels like I was just there, but also it's just so many emotions. So in the final week, we traveled back, and that day we kind of just rested because we didn't have anything planned, or they said in the program. So we just hung out at the house, and I think our contacts actually had some errands to run for other things, so I think we just stayed at home while they were doing that. And we didn't really have much to do. We played like Jungle Speed and different games and stuff, and then eventually we were, I think like most of us were in the living room at one point, and we had Wi-Fi in the house so we could like talk to our parents and tell them we were safe and what we were doing, catch them up on stuff. But the Wi-Fi was down this day, so we decided to hook Steven's phone up to the, why can't I think of the word, television, and we played games, and he like told a story on his phone, like coloring and stuff. And then at one point I like asked if I could do something, and so I would close my eyes and I would draw something and they would have to guess what it is, and it was just really fun. And like I just felt like kids, and we were super creative and stuff like that. And then that night I had another Kodak moment. So we were still at home and we had hooked up someone's laptop to the television, and we decided to watch Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And that movie itself is amazing, but okay, so we've been, us 8 have been together for 4 weeks now, because we had ropes week together and then we had those 3 weeks and we're in our final week. So the way I looked at these people now, like it like other people, it's weird. I tried to explain this to someone the other day, but the way that I look at each of my team members, like no one else will. Like the amount of love and adoration and respect I have for them, because I've seen them on the mission field, I've seen them in real life, I've seen how they handle situations, and I just love them so much at that point. So it was just like all of us being together in a living room, like sitting really close to each other, some people sitting on the ground, some people squished on a couch or in a chair together, and just watching the same movie, having all of our attention at one place, just like resting together. Like it was just a perfect moment to me. Like it wasn't some like, wow, God, you really did something. Well, obviously he was bonding us together and allowing us to have rest to go into our final week. But it was just a perfect night of just like us getting to just relax with one another in each other's presence. Like it was just so sweet to me. So then the next day we worked on the basement of the church, and we did some different things. We like pulled out these huge carpets, and this was like one of the funniest things we ever did to me, because we would pull out these massive carpets like that go across a whole auditorium, and we would unfold them, and then we would vacuum them, and then we would put them, like fold them and roll them back up. So it's just funny because like the grass would be getting on the bottom of the carpet, so I guess when you bring it back in and you open it up to be used, the grass would be on the bottom if there was any, but like the other side would be nice and vacuumed. It was just funny because we were bringing it out into the grass to vacuum it. It was kind of hysterical to watch, honestly. And then we would like water the grass. We let's see what else we did. Ben Solomon mowed the lawn. We made a fountain, which was kind of cool. We vacuumed carpets, and then we sorted these clothes, which there were ton of clothes in the basement, so we took all the clothes outside and we started sorting through it, mainly because they knew there was like rat poop in some of them, so we needed to like, because we were about to give the clothes away, so we needed to know which clothes needed to be thrown away or which clothes could be saved, which ones were even good if there had been rodents that had like chewed holes in it and stuff like that. So we had to sort through all of that, and we sorted them into like women, men, children, toys, stuff like that. There was so many different things, so we sorted that for hours. And then We also made wooden pallets, which I think was Sarah's idea. There are these wooden pallets. I don't remember where they came from, honestly, but some were outside already and some were in the basement. So we took them outside and like ripped them apart. And somehow Sarah figured out a way with the help of our other team members to make like benches that they could use. And then eventually we painted those and it was like super cool. Like I would have never thought like, hey, let's make benches out of these, but it's just cool how they were resourceful and did that. I was like, go team. And then we also helped make a wall mural, which was super cool. So when we first walked into the church, on the left side there was one wall mural, and so during our last week we made one for the other wall, and it was really beautiful. It was a picture of a map of the world, and there were like these children's faces, which we recognized some of them all over it, and it was just like super cool. And so we got to put that together and then put it up on the wall. And shout out to the amazing Ani. I can't believe I haven't mentioned her. I met her, I think the first week I would assume we were there. She's an advertising student also, so I was like, ooh, yes sister. So we connected on that, and she's just super awesome. But she was able to like plan out the whole wall mural because they're just 8x8 pictures that we had to put in order and cut the edges and all the little nitty-gritty stuff, but she figured that all out and we made her vision come to life. So that was super cool. Shout out to her. And then there was a night service. Oh yes, so every Wednesday night we were there. Besides the one we were traveling, we did a Wednesday night service in the church in a different room than the sanctuary. It was like more like intimate. It was like a smaller area, and we would just have like a chair, kind of like in a chair. We would have chairs in a circle, and it was kind of cool. So the last Wednesday night we were there, I was actually privileged to speak. I knew I had something laid on my heart pretty much the whole month, but I didn't know when I was gonna get to share it. And something with me is I get pretty nervous to speak in front of people. I mean, I was super shy growing up as a kid, but once I hit middle school, I was like, no, I want to be a good public speaker. Like, I have this picture in my mind of what I could be as a speaker, and a lot of times when I'm running through like what I'm gonna say for a speech or deliver a sermon, it like sounds so good in my head, and then when I try to deliver it, it's just kind of like choppy and I get nervous and it's just awkward sometimes. But I keep pushing myself out there and keep trying, and I think it went okay. There was a lot of things that I was like, oh, that was, but it's okay because Jesus moves and he can use anybody. So to you folks who are too scared to do it, I'm right there with you, but you should still do it because Jesus wants you to. So what I shared that night is my famous snake story, and I'm sure one time on here I'll share it because it's a hoot. It is a great story. But basically I shared sometimes the things that we are trying to get rid of the hardest in our life are the things that the Lord wants to use the most. And so I shared about that, and I used my snake story to just kind of incorporate it. And I was talking about how the Lord uses our pain, he uses our weakness, and he uses our strengths. And then I talked about the body of Christ and stuff like that. And yeah, so that was basically a little summary of my sermon. It was good for me to put myself out there again, even though it was a little shaky, but it's okay. And that night, I'm pretty sure that night we went to the Chinese restaurant again, and oh my goodness, something happened. So my amazing team leader, Ben Solomon, shout out to you, he came up with this riddle. I cannot even remember what the riddle is. I wish I did, but he said this riddle and I was like, that is made up. Like, after a few minutes of people guessing and stuff, I love riddles, guys, and I love mind games. Like, I just love being like frustrated at stuff. Like I talked about how in low ropes during ropes week, like I love that stuff. So I was like, oh, I love a riddle, tell me a riddle. And then like all the Bulgarians and Americans were trying to figure it out together, and after a few minutes I was just like, he made this up, like this isn't even a real thing. Because at one point he leaned over to Josephine and I guess had said like, I made this up, but act like you know what the answer is now, but don't tell anyone. And so then after he had done that, a few minutes later I was just like, this is not real. And so then I just sat there, and anytime someone guessed, I'm like, it's not a real thing, like it's just not real. And so then eventually he was like 2 hours later, I think we were driving home, he was like, guys, I made up that riddle, like there's no answer to it. And I was like, I told you. But also the rest of the night I was still like, what is the answer? What if he's lying to me? Like these mind games, like I don't know what to trust now. Like, is there a real answer? So it had me tripping a little bit, but it was all good fun. And then towards the end of, well, no, I guess it was like halfway through the week, we went and picked up 2 missions coordinators. So there was a group of people called the missions coordinators who coordinated our mission trips all year. So probably on like Tuesday or Wednesday, we went and picked up 2 MCs. Their names were Andrew and Liz, and they're super awesome. I was honestly really nervous how it was going to shake up the dynamic of the group because we had grown so close in those 3 weeks prior. So I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like this, but they were super awesome. It just brought like even more like adventure and joy to the group, so it was cool. But on that car ride, it was pretty far out to get to the airport, which I didn't realize. So on the way back, everyone was sitting in the back with the 2 MCs. It was me and Ben Solomon and Nicole and Josephine who had went, and everyone stayed back at the house. And so they were in the back with the 2 MCs, and it was just me sitting up in the front with George on the drive back. And this whole time I'd really wanted to hear like George's story and stuff like that. So I started asking him more questions, and it was just cool like how they were like telling them all about our Bulgarian experience. I was experiencing more of Bulgaria through hearing George's story. And it was just a sweet time where I just got to hear more of his heart and more of the reason like why he is the way he is. So I really cherish that car ride back. Okay, we are done with those 2 and we are moving on to the napkins. So let's wrap this up, Bailey. So the rest of the week, one day we're taking trash because a lot of times in the basement when we were cleaning out, we'd have trash that we had to throw away, and there were dumpsters just like a block away or so. So we'd walk to the trash, to the dumpster to throw the trash away. And one time we did this, I was with Josephine, and my heart was completely broken. Basically what happened was we were carrying this trash, and this little girl came around the corner, and as we were walking up, she was like rummaging through the trash. And so I was like, I wonder if she's homeless, I wonder if she has a family, stuff like that. So once we got close to her, she was saying some things in Bulgarian, which I obviously didn't understand. And I started to like lift my trash up to put in the dumpster, and she came over and helped me and Josephine. And then afterward, I was trying to talk to her. I was just asking like, what's your name and how are you, stuff like that. And then she was saying all this stuff, but I didn't understand it. And eventually she went like this, and I was like, oh, she needs money. But I didn't have any money on me, and I didn't even know if we were allowed to give people money, stuff like that. And so my heart was just broken because there was nothing I could really do for her. I couldn't even like tell her I wanted to pray without like freaking her out because I didn't have a translator. And so I just had to turn around, and I was like, I think I said like, bye, Jesus loves you, something like that. And I turned around, and Josephine and I were walking back, and I just said a quick prayer, and she agreed with me, and then we kind of went on our day. But it just kind of stuck with me. Like, we saw a lot of different sides of Bulgaria, but that was one side I hadn't seen, just like a lonely girl in like a nicer area. Like in the gypsy area, we had seen a lot of poverty, but the poverty was in the area we were staying. So it was just very interesting to see. Oh, this was one of my favorite things, but also broke my heart because those clothes that we had been organizing and sorting through all week, we got to take to the gypsy church that we went to the very first time, and we went there a couple times. And I really was hoping that I was going to see a lot of the kids, especially David, or David, I guess we'll say, because he was like my special little buddy. He was probably like 7 or 8 years old, and he would always do this like karate thing and then just be like, wha! And it was so cute, and he just always was like hugging me, and just, he had the cutest smile. Anyway, you know, like when you have that kid in the group that you just adore, he was that kid to me. But I didn't end up getting to see David that day, but I did get to see some of the girls that we had met before, and that was super sweet. But it was definitely bittersweet because we had to quickly like turn around and just get in the van and head back to go do some more work. And so I was like tearing up big time when we were leaving that village because I knew it was the last time that I would be there. Hopefully not for the rest of my life, but for that period of time it was. So now we approach a very cool experience for me. I actually had my 21st birthday while I was in Bulgaria. I actually filmed a clip of me just talking, so I'll insert that here. Okay, so I was able to sneak away for just a few minutes. I hear everyone laughing downstairs, so I want to go play some games with them. But today is actually my 21st birthday, and first of all, I just want to say thank you so much to anyone who wished me a happy birthday. You don't know how much your words mean to me, that you would just take a second of your day to just wish me good luck on this new year of life. It just means so much to me, and the reason I bring this up is because it has been my dream for as long as I can remember to celebrate my birthday on a mission trip, because I love missions, and I just can't imagine like spending a birthday any better way than serving God in a foreign country with your new like missions family and just like the people, especially since this is at the end of our trip. We only have a day and a half left here, which is crazy. But since we've had this month here where we've gone close to the people here in Bulgaria, to our contacts, to the people in the church, the people in the gypsy villages, like everyone that we've come into contact with, like we've established that bond. So it just makes like today so much sweeter, and I love it. And my mom actually sent me with 2 cards so I would be able to open something on my birthday, which is so sweet. Thank you, Mom. I love you so much. Yeah, so I'm about to open them, and I just feel so like humbled and grateful. I think I'm starting to get all the feels since it's the end of our trip, and I'm going to talk about my Kodak moments probably in another clip, but I just feel so like, I'm just so happy today. It's just been such a great day. So thank you to everyone again. I'm gonna open my cards now. So basically, for my 21st birthday, we got to climb a mountain on these huge rocks, which were actually a dormant volcano, and there was a Red Bull 5K race, so we got to see these women go and like race up the mountain, and then all these men go, and it was kind of cool to see like they looked like little spiders or ants like crawling up a hill. Like, it was awesome. And then we got to go eat some good Bulgarian food, and we got to dance with strangers, which, you know, like I said earlier, I loved learning the Bulgarian dances, so that was super fun. And so I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I love pine cones, especially like little baby ones, and my contact Polly obviously didn't know this. Like, I had never, like, I don't go around telling people like, oh, I love pine cones. Well, maybe I do, I just don't know. But she was like, Bailey, for your birthday, I got you a pine cone. And I was like, Polly, you don't even know, but I love pine cones. And she was like, well, good. Like, she was so excited. And it was so sweet having like all the different Bulgarians say happy birthday once they like heard someone say it to me. They're like, Bailey, happy birthday. And they would give me a hug. And it was just, I just love Bulgaria, and I love the Bulgarian people. So that night on my birthday, there was a huge thunderstorm, and actually we were driving back. No, wait, did we drive back? Or we took, I think we took so many different transportations that day, like the bus, the tram, the subway, and then walking and van and like everything. And the only thing I didn't take while I was there was a taxi, actually. But so I think we had been dropped off at this corner, and we had to walk back to the house, and it was probably like a 20-minute, 30-minute walk. And it started raining, and I was like, oh no, here we go. So we start walking faster, people start putting their hoods up, and then eventually we get into the house, and it just starts pouring, like crazily pouring. And I went into a room I was staying in with the 2 girls, and like it was like flooding in like through the windows, and we were like, oh no, Polly, what do we do? And so we just like took towels, and it was just like a fun moment. And then I look out the window, and I see 2 of my team members just like standing there in the rain, like basking in all its glory. And I was like, you guys are goobers and are gonna be freezing in a second. And so it's just funny. So yeah, since the thunderstorm happened, we didn't really have much planned. The MCs were gonna go to a gypsy service that night, and anyone else could go to, but since it was storming so hard, no one went, and we ended up just playing games, and we actually had eggs for dinner, which is super random. But yeah, so that was my birthday, and it was super fun. And then we went to our last church service, and we also got to go to the worship leader's house, which was a very nice apartment, and it was super fun. Like, I don't even know how to describe how fun it was to you. Like, it was just so natural. Like, it wasn't forced fun, but it was just like there was candy in little bowls and like gummy bears, and then we had Domino's pizza, because the worship leader and her husband were from the States, so it just like felt so homey. And they had the cutest dog. His name was Bruno. Oh, he was so adorable. And yeah, so it was just super fun. And then I actually got to talk to this girl who was probably a few years older than me, and she was actually in med school. And so I don't even know how this happened, but we started talking about like our careers and what we wanted to do and stuff, and she was just so sweet and saying like, well, when you're all famous and stuff, like, don't forget me. And I'm like, when you're a doctor and all famous, being a surgeon or whatever you're gonna do, don't forget me. So it's just cool how we were like boosting each other and stuff, and we got to hug at the end before we left. And right at the end, for the last 30 minutes or an hour or so, we went into this room and just all like kind of got in a circle-ish, and someone was playing keys, and I think Destiny was singing or something, and that's the worship leader's name, and it just was like Jesus just like showed up. It was crazy how that happened. Like the whole, I don't know why I'm so like amazed and like, wow, I can't believe, like just dumbfounded by it, because I should expect it to happen. But like I was just like, wow, Jesus just showed up like mightily. Like Destiny is such a powerful woman of God. She like prophesied over us 2 times while we were there, like one of the first weeks, and then that last time we were in her apartment, she was just saying all this stuff over us, and they kind of were just commissioning us back into Oklahoma, into our own homes and stuff like that. And it was just a super, super cool moment, because we were mixed with Bulgarians again. Like it was a lot of people from the church over there too. And then the last day we were there, we actually had to go to the airport at like 3, I want to say. I think we had like a 7 o'clock flight or something like that, so it wasn't early in the morning. So we got up and we had commissioning over our team. So we went in the upstairs of the house, right outside of where I stayed in my room, and we sat there, and one by one we all got in the center of the circle, and we got prayed over and prophesied over by our team members, which is what we did before we left for Bulgaria. So we were doing it back home just as a team, and it was just a really sweet time, and we recorded it so we can listen back to it for years to come and just be encouraged and see how like God comes and brings to fulfillment what they were saying then. So it was just super cool, and then we flew home, and it was awesome. Our trip was so amazing, and I miss Bulgaria so much. So if any of my team members are watching, or any people from Bulgaria that I met or didn't meet, I love your country. I miss you, and I love you so much. I know God showed up in such miraculous ways that I don't even know, that I will never even get to see or get to hear about. But once we get to heaven, like I really think God will reveal and show us all of the little seeds that we planted, and all the little harvests that happened in the chain reaction. So I'm still praying for Bulgaria, and I hope to return one day soon. I hope you guys have enjoyed hearing about my adventures. That's all I gotta say. So I hope you guys are having a great day, whatever day of the week it is, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, pals.